Hello and welcome back to Transurfing Yourself. This is Volume 6. Remembering yourself. Let's start with the practice of remembering yourself. The task, to recall your factory settings to which you would like to return. For now, this only concerns body settings. Mentally rewind your life and recall a time when you felt excellent, when nothing bothered you and you were in great physical shape. Most likely this was childhood, adolescence, or youth. It can be different for everyone. Let me give you an example. I was lucky to be born in Kamchatka and lived there for the first 15 years. Lucky because it is the land of El Dorado in every sense. Climate, nature, romance, and much more. In winter, as it should be, it snows, not rains, and it doesn't melt, and there's lots of it. A luxury for all winter activities. In summer, volcanic lakes where the bottom is visible for several meters. Forest paths for bicycles, conditions for all kinds of activities, and beauty everywhere. Wild and untamed. Spring and autumn are also special, but that would take too long to explain. I was also lucky that wild nature began 2 steps from my house, and this contributed to gaining very good physical shape. Effortlessly, because it was not a sport, but entertainment. In wild nature, all body physics develops harmoniously, as a matter of course. I don't know about adults, but we children felt like wild animals in the forest, as if it was our home, and we're not afraid of anything. In winter, when there was a strong blizzard, school is canceled and we dress like astronauts and go to work. The work consisted of dealing with a lot of snow. We had to dig it, literally like moles, building tunnels, caves, and fortresses. It was quite hard work, but what could you do? It had to be done. And did we have to ride sleds and skis? That's not just riding. Half the work involved climbing uphill, also strenuous. And did we have to jump from roofs into snowdrifts? Naturally, you couldn't avoid it. And did we have to yell while doing it? Absolutely, like madmen. So after working hard and getting all dirty, you come home, but for some reason you still have nowhere to put your energy, and for some reason our parents weren't worried about us. Maybe because people in Kamchatka are also somehow special, more lively perhaps. Sometimes there's an earthquake, chandeliers swing, and people spill out of their houses in whatever they're wearing, but they're not scared. They look at each other, haha, and go back home as if nothing happened. It all felt safe and fun. But that was in early childhood. At an older age, new sports entertainment was added. Active yard games, for example, ice battles with wooden swords and shields. Street versus street, but not aggressive, just pretend. In summer, bicycles everywhere on forest paths. In winter, skates, downhill skiing. Not simple skiing, but crazy with freestyle. Again, we had to climb the hills ourselves. There were no lifts. Special pleasure was swimming in geothermal hot springs in winter. The point was not just to soak in hot water, but to alternate heat and cold. First, you wallow in the snow, and then you jump in the water, and so on and so forth. You had to squeal too. Everyone squeals like piglets because there are no other such acute sensations. And for health, there's no better procedure. This is completely different from sitting all day long buried in a smartphone. We were wild, especially my class. Completely crazy. However, this was not a pathological hyperactivity like that of modern children, overstimulated by technogenic food and information. We studied well and could concentrate for a long time. Then I started sports school. A very good school with various sports. In summer, military sports camps, large army tents in the forest with army cots. Pioneer leaders were sailors, and I remember they were very intelligent and strong people, probably specially selected, who also taught us how to be the same. In short, thanks to all this, I was in excellent physical shape, and then for some reason, I completely immersed myself in physics and mathematics and an unhealthy lifestyle. I wouldn't say that I'm in bad shape now, but a significant part of it was lost over long, foolish years. And now, remembering all this after the insight, I asked another question. Can I regain that former shape and feeling of myself as an animal in the forest? And I received an answer as if from an angry caretaker. You can, you fool, but why did you lose all that? I started this long story with the goal that you understand that you need to remember well everything you had, probably each in their own way, but also good, and fix the state in which you feel excellent. These will be the basic settings. Remember and re-experiencing them. I'm going to rephrase that slightly. I don't love the translation. The reason he tells this long story is to fully immerse himself in that experience of feeling that way. When he says fix the state, what he really means is ingrain that feeling in every possible sense, as deeply as you can in every cell of your body. Remember it to the core, because that remembering brings it back into our realities. So what were your settings? How, or even whom, did you feel yourself to be? Summary. Mentally rewind your life and recall a time when you felt excellent, when nothing bothered you and you were in great physical shape. You can regain that former shape. You need to recall your factory settings and re-experience them. What were they like? How, or even whom, did you feel yourself to be? Questions and feedback. Your phrase, "you can, you fool," is hilarious. I heard a voice in my life, all my life, say, "Well, you're doing bullshit." Now I look at my son, almost all his childhood is on the computer. What will he remember later? Answer, you should spend time with him. Engage in outdoor activities together. Enroll him in sports sections, clubs, etc. There are many opportunities now, so he doesn't have time for a smartphone. 50 years of living in huge cities didn't pass in vain, and the feeling of being an old creaky cart started appearing more and more often. 3 years ago, I came to Kamchatka and realized this is my home. Revival began here. Everything is happening exactly as I dreamed. The creaky cart is in the past. Now, at 53, most of my peers spend time queuing at the doctor's, on the couch, cuddling with the TV, etc. My situation is different. Swimming in the snow and hot springs, squeals and laughter. Digging out the car in winter is a great workout, no need to go to the gym. And what wild delight overwhelms you when you ski down a mountain or gallop across the ocean shore on a horse. When you climb a volcano and feel the top of the world and all limitations are only in your head. Happiness never leaves here. Everything started over here. But you need to understand that you're not necessarily going to have to go to Kamchatka or leave to go anywhere at all. It's good wherever it is. Reference date. Let's continue the topic of regeneration. Let me remind you of the main point. In the new time, the new reality, many experienced a feeling and understanding that in conditions where even human DNA is being restructured, one cannot fuss over trifles like slowing down or aging or cosmetic rejuvenation, but directly aim for regeneration, for life from a clean slate. Therefore, the goal is not senile longevity, but regeneration. To rephrase it, I've known way too many people who want to live forever but don't care about the quality. What we're talking about is the fountain of youth. To rephrase it in the very simplest of ways. The first necessary condition for this is cleansing the body and mind. Our toxins and our false beliefs and our limitations are what make us age. Our stress is what makes us age. All of this stuff, these patterns, destroy us. As we let them go and reconnect with the healthy pattern, we bring ourselves back into that. We literally turn the clock backwards. Right now, the science is everywhere on reversing cellular aging. Vadim happened to front-end it by a couple of years using strict consciousness without even external tools needed. The next step is unwavering commitment to revival and development. Last time we went through the practice of remembering yourself in order to recreate your basic settings that you would like to return to. The sensations of many are similar. In childhood, everything was great, but there were also unique cases. Here are some characteristic reviews. For example, not everyone's childhood can be correlated with basic settings. Quote, going back, it's hard for me to say that there was a period in my life when I felt physically better than now. Probably not even in childhood. Answer. If you don't feel physically better in childhood, then you should just only move forward with new attitudes. I tried to go back to my childhood and remembered at least something warm and good, but nothing. A small frightened girl, screams, beatings. I always tried to study well, to do everything well, apparently trying to earn my mother's praise. No love, no affection, and not a kind word. Answer. Still, there must have been something good. Remember the good and let go of the bad. I remember a feeling of insatiable energy and that everything is possible and that everything is still ahead. It's time to bring everything back. Answer. Exactly, it's time to bring everything back. I also caught myself in a state of anticipating something new. A feeling that everything is just beginning, that everything is possible. And for a week now, I fall asleep and wake up with the thought, how did I feel in childhood? And every day this state strengthens. Answer: yes, you need to remember and try to live in that state. At the words rebirth and regeneration, my body stirred and came alive. Pleasant sensations throughout my body. These words are like light codes, a call to action and work within. An emotional uplift. Answer: it means the body likes this idea and knows it's feasible. Question: yesterday I was looking through old childhood photos and found one. I liked it so much I completely forgot about it. And I put it in a prominent place and felt myself to be exactly her. The way I was. Amazing. Answer: key phrase: I felt myself to be her. I.e. myself. Yes, you can pull out old photos, remember old music from those times. So recreate that state. Question: for several years now I've been returning there. Now I know its basic settings, or an elation state as I call it. The etalon state is what you can build on in your development. Interesting word. Question: I feel like I am me, as if there is no age. It is always one. Answer: yes, that's right. Age is always one, provided that I am me, and I've decided so, and I want it so. Question: for me, new generation is even more fitting than regeneration, rebirth, recreation, because our energetic childhood was still based on the energies of that time. But time has changed. Our task is to create ourselves energetic and new in accordance with today's realities. Answer: also new. If there is no desire to start from childhood, you can do it this way. Now, the conclusions that can be drawn. Someone perhaps intuitively arrived at them themselves. For example, I've been regenerating my body for a long time. The process is going successfully. Everyone thinks I'm 20 to 30 years younger. And that's how it is for me. It's not just about sports and nutrition, but about an inner feeling of self. For several years, I've been remembering myself, and there are times when I'm in this state of happiness and fullness for weeks. If you can recall a state from childhood when you felt excellent, take that as your marker point. Remember a day that was successful in every way to you, where you were that day, what you were doing, what feelings you experienced, in all possible detail. A situation, an event, an activity could serve as a hook. Re-experience that state. Determine what frame can be used as a hook, so that by mentally returning to that frame from the past, you can also return to that state. If you succeeded in this, fix the state as your anchor, and then return to it from time to time. More often, try to live in this state. If you cannot recall anything like that, immediately proceed to the next step. Create a new anchor state. Of course, we should not stop, or even worse, get stuck somewhere in the past. Regeneration is not a return somewhere back, but a development forward. There was old, there will be new. It is convenient to start from the anchor state of childhood to move further. But if there's nothing to start from, start directly from the point where you are now. By setting yourself a goal and development, you will achieve this goal. By engaging in the revival, in body and spirit, you will reach new anchor states. We'll discuss what the revival of the body and spirit consists of further on. Meanwhile, here's some food for thought. The spirit has no age. No one can say that my spirit has always been and always will be. The spirit does not view its existence as movement along a timeline. It simply is. If I do not live for some period of time, but I am, then I have no age. I am and will be. What does age have to do with it? Rephrasing. The spirit's infinite. Because something's infinite, you see, finite can have a timeline. Infinite is all-encompassing. The spirit is on the infinite side of our existence. In one of the reviews, it was very clearly noted, age is always one. The thought is non-trivial and paradoxical, but if you accept this paradox as an axiom, it will serve as a key allowing you to break the aging program. Summary. If you didn't feel physically better in childhood, then you should only move forward. The body likes the idea of regeneration and it knows that it's feasible. The anchor state is what you can build on in your development. Age is always one, provided that I am me. And I've decided that this is so, and I want it to be so. If there's no desire to start from childhood, you can start from a new beginning with new attitudes. If you manage to fix the anchor state, try to return and live in it. If you cannot recall anything like that, immediately proceed to the next step. Create a new anchor state. Regeneration is not a return somewhere back, but a development forward. There was old. There will be new. The spirit has no age. It simply is. So the anchor state is useful for people that have a very strong sensation of where they want to go. And they can recall a time where that's true. For people that are having difficulty with that, do not get hung up on it. Let it go and just know you're starting from where you are and know what your goal is. Give yourself the freedom to pick your ideal path. Questions and feedback. In childhood, everything was bright and clear. Awareness was constant. I couldn't understand how adults after sleep would remember what day of the week it was or where they were. A feeling of holiday and anticipation and a lot of plans. I remember birds singing. I see my sandals on a stand and asphalt flowing beneath them. My mom is driving me in a sitting stroller from behind. The sun is shining brightly, and I wondered, what is all this for? The sun, the birds, those green fluffy trees overhead. And I immediately concluded that it's for us, so that we would be happy. This little episode became so ingrained in my memory, it became my life's credo. Back then I was sure that everyone knew about it, but it turned out not everyone did. Maybe they just forgot. The sensations of life then were pure, full of love for the world. Changing the program. Let's continue the topic of regeneration. Let me remind you, this became possible only now when the age of Pisces was replaced by the age of Aquarius, when reality is being renewed and coming alive, like in spring when the rhythms of the universe governing the vital activity of the organism are changing, and when the organism itself is changing in accordance with that part of DNA that remained dormant until the new time. What this part is, why it exists, and what it does, science does not know. However, besides scientific opportunity, thank God there is esoteric knowledge. A window of opportunity is opened to control internal and external processes by the power of your consciousness, your intention. That means that in the new reality, we're able to control what is inside and what is outside our body and our reality. We could before, but now this ability has significantly increased. Of course, doubts arise. Is this really possible? Is it true? The criterion of truth is the fact that this knowledge came to so many sensitive and seeing people simultaneously. This is exactly what happens with esoteric information. Therefore, one should not guess whether it's possible or not, but act. Our goal, I repeat, is not to slow down aging, but regeneration. The only limiting factor is the program laid down more by society than by nature. That all people quickly grow old, become sick, decrepit, and die. The old program must be replaced by a new one, and then it will also begin to work. The opened window of opportunity, both physical and metaphysical, will allow this to happen. We just need to seize the moment. Literally set a program for regeneration in your body. Our body is intelligent. It can signal what it wants and what it does not want. Sometimes you can feel this if you pay attention. So it wants to regenerate and knows that it's possible. So we replace the program of age-related changes with a new program. I am. In other words, I do not age. I do not diminish somewhere and somehow, but simply am. That's all. I am always 20 years old and have no age. Done. 20 years old is not an age in the sense of age, but a state of the body in full bloom. But to enter this physiological and mental state in which I'm always 20 years old and have no age, it's necessary to start and undergo preparation for regeneration. What's required for this? 1. Cleansing of the body and mind. 2. Clean and effective nutrition. 3. Alignment with new energies. 4. Diverse and effective movement. 5. Unwavering commitment to revival and development. This last point is realized by transmitting thought forms. A program for revival and development is embedded in my body. My body is completely renewed and reborn. Complete regeneration of all cells and organs occurs. I am 20 years old again, and I look 20 years old. I look young and attractive. I am transforming into an Atlant, or female Atlant. I have powerful health, powerful energy, and excellent well-being. I am full of strength and energy. I feel simply great. You can change or supplement these thought forms as your heart desires. For example, if you're not yet 20, set a goal for development. Of course, there should be no stopping or degradation, only development and improvement. Or if you can no longer manage to look 20, be realistic. Transmit the thought form, every day I look younger and more attractive, because now you're staying within your zone of reality. It'll start to shift it more quickly that way. In the end, I am completely reborn and I return to my 20s. And so it will be. So not immediate, but gradually. Don't forget, an unwavering commitment is required. I would not have the right to give you hope without testing this work in practice. I always test before offering. Now I see for myself that everything works. I have visibly started to look younger. For the new program to replace the old one and be ingrained in the mental template. These thought forms must be broadcast constantly in active and background mode. Repeat them convincingly to yourself or aloud from time to time, and also keep them as a screensaver, returning to them in memory again and again. As an anchor for memory, all thought forms can be combined into one integral frame. Renewal, rejuvenation, development, or shorter, complete regeneration, if you clearly understand the meaning of it. So we can take multiple words. We take a series of words, and we can create a program that shortens it. As long as we fully embody, hold, and know the program, our consciousness loves that. Summary. In the new reality, we're able to control what's inside and what's outside our body and our reality. We could before, but now this ability is significantly increased. The body wants to regenerate and knows it's possible. It just needs some help. It's necessary to reprogram your body for regeneration. I do not age. I do not diminish. Somewhere and somehow, but simply I am. That's all. I am always 20 years old and have no age. For the new program to replace the old one, thought forms must be broadcast constantly, in active and in background modes. Repeat them convincingly to yourself or aloud from time to time, and also keep them as a screensaver, returning to them in memory again and again. They can be combined into one integral frame, renewal, rejuvenation, development, or shorten it to complete regeneration. If you clearly understand the meaning of this, it is essential to state the progress. Look in the mirror sometimes and notice that, indeed, you look younger and better. Questions and feedback. When I was 20, I wasn't the healthiest person. Now my health is better than it was at 20. I keep repeating affirmations like I'm returning to my 20s. Won't my subconscious perceive this as a call to start getting sick? Answer. When you tell your body I'm 20 again, that means age, not illness in terms of meaning. You can add my health is improving, getting better every day. I have powerful health. But in any case, you need to adjust the thought forms to yourself, as I said. Question. I launched regeneration. Not only that I started to notice that I'm getting younger, but all my colleagues at work have noticed as well. I feel good. I enjoy life. Thank you for such valuable information.